This morning it's my honor and it's a joy and it's a pleasure that we could have our dear brother Jim Wallace come and share the word with us. So let's put our hands together as we welcome Jim.
Well, good morning. It's great to be here with you. I must admit I'm a boring Baptist, so I'm not used to this type of worship, okay? But you do know, of course, and I keep telling people in Pentecostal charismatic churches this, that we're going to get to heaven before you, because the dead in Christ will rise first. As I came into as I came into Melbourne last night, I arrived very late last night. I was very appreciative for people to come and pick me up, and because I had a meeting in Sydney late last night as well. And as I landed, we landed with a big bang onto the airport, and I was reminded of a little lady who was put right off air travel. She was an old lady, and she was travelling into Perth. Now, I spent a lot of time in Perth because I was in the SAS regiment there, the army there, and landing in Perth is often difficult because the winds come across, and the westerlies come across, and they move the planes, just as they're about to land off them. And one lady had been in that situation, and because she was older, she got her to stay there until the end of everybody else had got off the plane. And so as she came up to the fellow, and you remember the old days, they don't seem to do it now, but the co-pilot used to have to stand at the front of the plane and see everybody off. And it was in those days, and as she walked up to him, she said, "Sonny," she said, "tell me one thing." And he said, "Yes." He said, "What's that?" He said, "Did we land or were we shot down?" And I felt a bit like that. I'm very pleased to talk to you, and I'm speaking to you over 3 sessions at the conference. And what I would like to do is, I know that your theme is to rise up Australia, and I really admire you for that, because we really do need Australia to rise up, to re-seize its Christian heritage, and we can only do that by getting engaged. This is something that just happens, And so I really admire you for that. And what I hope to talk about is, in those 3 sessions, is first of all, I'd like to talk about the fact that why we've got to rise up, We've got to know why. You've got to know why you're going to do something. Otherwise, it's very hard to keep the vision, So we've got to know why we're going to do it. The second thing is that we want to know what's it going to take from us. Okay, so in the second section, I'd like to talk about that. And then the third one is, how do we actually do it? And I'm going to talk about it, of course, because I'm not a pastor. Okay, I work as executive chairman of the Australian Christian Lobby, but I work obviously all the time in the political domain. And so what I would like to talk about is how we're going to do that in the political domain in particular. I heard a brother who was leading the singing there say, we've got to re-seize the high ground, and I've been sort of going around Australia trying to tell people we've got to do that today. And the reason I say that is because as a military officer of some 32 years, having studied tactics and studied strategy, I know that on the battlefield you must seize the high ground. And I'll talk about a little bit about that more later. But we've got to know how to do it, we've got to do it smart, right? It's not something you bumble into, particularly in politics, in the political area. You can't just bumble in there. Right, well, let's just look at this why. Well, the why for me in some ways is sort of summarised by a story, again, of a number of scientists who were saying, well, we're so smart now. We can do so much now. We can clone, and we're here in Australia here, they've just cloned a cow for the first time. And these scientists are saying, we're so smart now, that really we don't need God, we need God here. Tell him, sorry God, out of a job. And so they threw straws, and the bloke with the short straw course went up to tell God this. And he said exactly that. He said, well, God, we can do anything now. He said, in fact, he said, see this dirt here? He said, we're so smart now that we could actually take this dirt and we could create a man out of it just as you did. And God touched him, slapped him on the wrist, and he said, get your own dirt.